But that's what's happening. So that's what's happening over in my world for the holidays. What are the holidays going to be happy for Mark Henry and Bryce Remsburg? Have they had a dust up on the internet recently? You were telling me something about it before we came on the air.
Well, apparently they may have made up already, but it was an interesting story for a day or so because it was somewhat unnecessary, it seemed like. Remember we talked about during the review of, I guess it was MJF versus Daniel Garcia, there was a moment where there was a roll-up, and seemingly, based on the video that we were watching live or on tape, Bryce Remsburg, the referee, counted 1, 2, and then pushed the leg to break the count.
Yeah, yes, it was like the motion he made in between the 2 count and what potentially would have been 3 was to reach up and kind of shove the knee of the guy that was in the small package or jackknife or whatever it was to like, hey, kick out, motherfucker, and then went to count again, but it was too late. He'd already kicked out.
And by the way, I was wrong. It was Danielson versus Jack Perry. He pushed Jack. I'm watching the video right now. He pushed Jack Perry's leg, it appears.
Oh, well, but the point is same thing, just different person. And we said at the time, because I've never seen any referee actually do that specific thing before. And I speculated, was it like a nervous tick? You just do something without thinking about it? Like we were just talking about the woman at the deli and the guy in the kitchen with him, or whatever. Or did he think that somehow that Perry, the guy that was dead, he didn't see the first count, or he didn't know that he had already counted 1, so he thought 2 was 1, and he wasn't going to kick out on the right when I got to do something, and he just had a brain fart and said, I'll just shove his leg instead of saying kick out? Or what could have been the explanation of this? That's what we were discussing.
Perhaps he saw a foreign object in Jack Perry's boots.
Well, in that case, then he would have grabbed his fucking foot.
Well, apparently the video of just this specific moment was going around on Twitter. Someone named Vic posted it and wrote, WTF, I've never seen a referee do this before. To which Mark Henry replied, I'm not commenting, I'll be called a hater. Now, I believe Mark Henry has done some interviews and made some appearances since he left AEW, and he's let it be known that perhaps he wasn't listened to, that he didn't do as much as he would have liked to have done, and that maybe a lot of people, do their own thing there, I guess you could say. Well, Bryce Remsburg, in a now deleted tweet...
Oh, that's where you know that there was some second thoughts when they delete the stuff.
He tweeted out, Hey Mark, this angle doesn't show exactly what happened. You were always so nice to me backstage at AEW, and I constantly helped you with your travel whenever I could. If you think something is wonky, feel free to reach out directly whenever. So let's stop there. Any thoughts on that?
Well, that was about as inoffensive a statement as you could make. And some people may say, well, why didn't he just privately email or call Mark Henry? If he's helped him with his travel, he probably knows where he lives. And say that personally. But that was such a milquetoast comment, besides wanting to remind Mark that, hey, I used to help you. Is that inflammatory?
I never left you at the airport like punk. Why are you doing this to me now?
Yeah. I always got you a car when we went to Wembley.
I never treated you like Stephanie Vacour.
Never stranded you in a foreign country. But that's not inflammatory. Where does it kick up a notch? Where can we get some emeralds on this?
Well, it kind of doesn't really kick up a notch. It stays at this point. A lot of people were jumping on it because, again, it's public.
Killing each other with kindness.
And then Taz jumped in, retweeting the now deleted tweet from Bryce Remsburg, I believe. Hey, brother, you do not need to explain yourself or apologize for anything to anybody. That's the AEW motto. As you know, shit happens out there in a ring, and talent aren't robots. They are human, and no one is perfect. You are the best in the biz, in my opinion. Fuck all that noise. Keep being great. And there's a little fist emoji there.
Was the fist, did it have a finger sticking out of it, or was it like swinging at your face, or was it like a right on type of thing, or?
Yeah, just kind of, I guess, like, brotherhood, right on, fist bump. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't use emojis. I'm a man.
It's a 68 Mexico City Olympics. It's got a black glove on it. It could mean all kinds of things.
So again, in terms of what people were seeing and why people were sending it to us, it was really more people saw Bryce Remsburg's comment to Mark Henry's than Mark Henry's. And then they see Taz jumping in to immediately defend Bryce Remsburg. Any thoughts on this?
Yes, why don't they all just goddamn talk personally? Unless they're going to come out and say, look here, motherfucker, and then we're interested, and then we'll get to popcorn. But if they're going to be either non-committal, uncommenting, or unfailingly polite and possibly a little snarky in a passive-aggressive way, this is not really a conflict that I have time for.
Yeah, and don't be surprised when people who left AEW can finally say what they haven't been able to say out loud for the entire time they were with AEW about the sloppiness and things that shouldn't be on TV and things that should be done better. But let's go back to this.
Yes.
Bryce Remsburg, another tweet.
Jesus Christ.
Good morning. Mark Henry called me this morning, and we had a mature, considerate discussion. We understand each other's perspective better. I regret the reaction and negativity I helped to create. Support each other and support pro wrestling. Onward, upward.
Oh, no, he didn't say that.
Yes, he did. Onward, exclamation point, upward, exclamation point. Excelsior!
Excelsior and beyond. Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. What? Who? Why was that? That sounds like after the International Peace Accord has taken place, somebody has prepared that statement so that you'll know that Micronesia and Lithuania are not going to be engaged in all-out war and have come to an agreement. Nobody said, Mark Henry didn't even say anything about it. If I said what I think, I'll be a hater. Why was there needed to be a reply to that? He didn't say anything.
That's what I said. It's a non-story that became a story because of the need to publicly respond. You could have just called Mark Henry at that point. Yeah. And again, he says, you don't know what happened. The angle doesn't show it. And then Taz is like, shit happens in the ring. You don't have to defend yourself.
Because people were coming down the street with pitchforks and torches and ready to, string him up from Castle Frankenstein. It's like that fucking moron a few weeks ago threatened to sue me for shit that I didn't say. I let you say it, so he's going to sue me. I'm like, you stupid motherfucker. What? There's nothing there.
I think people are just disappointed because he's one of the only good referees typically in AEW, and it was an unexplained... we've seen things before where the referee stopped before 3 and it becomes awkward. This was right on camera, and unless there's another angle that shows that his hand did not push the foot.
Okay, but think about it. See, I don't... Again, sometimes there are cases where you have a brain fart. You go, why did I fucking do that? Or maybe he does have some budding form of Tourette's. Maybe he needs to get a CAT scan. But if you're down counting and a motherfucker's rolled up, wouldn't you just, instead of visually shoving him or even giving him an Iggy in that obvious of a way where you're reaching up with his leg or reaching up to grab his leg, you're down there, wouldn't you say, Jack, kick out, this is 3. I don't know why this display of something would have needed to be done. And I don't know what it was, but regardless, and nobody said what it was. And Mark Henry didn't say what he wanted to say. And then Bryce Remsburg said to Mark what he wanted to say about what Mark didn't say out in front of everybody, which necessitated everybody else having an opinion on it. And then, yeah. If I comment on something on Twitter or out in public, you'll definitely know what I think about it. Or elsewise, it's not fucking germane to anything, isn't it? Or is it?
Imagine if Mark Henry actually said something. Like, this is bullshit. This is sloppy. This needs to be done better. He didn't say anything.
And usually Mark do go on quite at length about anything. But nevertheless, I hate to hear that these people are having this horrible exchange of compliments and kindness. I'm glad they got it all worked out.
According to the article I'm looking at here, it says that Mark Henry confirmed on May 27th that his AEW deal would be up on May 28th. He was not seeking renewal, and he is now working as the booker for All Caribbean Wrestling.
What?
Whatever that may be.
All righty then. Well, if you want to go to the Caribbean, folks, or young wrestlers, call Mark Henry.